All right, everybody, what is up, and welcome back to the Interstate 69 Motorsports YouTube channel. Today, we're going to be talking about this beast of a machine behind us. We've got the all-new 2024 Expedition XP. If you guys missed our previous video talking about the Expedition ADV, just go ahead and click a link up above. You'll be able to get caught up to date on the Expedition models. But other than that, guys, let's go ahead and dive into this XP. So, first thing up front, we've got a bumper with our tie downs, and we've got a 4,500 pound winch. So this is the Ultimate model, so that comes standard on the Ultimate models. This is a non-North Star, so if you guys can see, there's no upper cab to the doors or a glass tip out windshield. So that's something a little bit different. We hop down here to our tires. We got 30-inch tires on 15-inch wheels with a 5-lug pattern. So that's pretty cool. Something a little bit different than you guys may be used to if you guys are used to Polaris machines. We've got Fox shocks. These are the Performance Series 2.0. So you get 20 inches of usable travel. We have a isolated front diff. So the big thing about isolation in the drivetrain is that it reduces on vibration later down the road. If parts were to get wore, you don't get as much vibration, being that it's not bolted directly to the frame. So that's a pretty cool feature. And guys, let's just go ahead and hop inside one of these bad boys and see what's different. All right, everybody, real quick before we dive into the inside of this machine, I would go ahead and like to ask each and every one of you watching this video to go ahead and leave a like and subscribe. This keeps us being able to do what we want to do and show off all these machines to you amazing people. But other than that, guys, let's go ahead and dive right on in. So if you guys haven't, we have a video out covering the 2024 razors. This is the same gauge out of those razors, so it's very similar to the gauge that you're used to out of previous models. Same information, same setup with a dual sweeping analog. But it's shaped just a little bit differently and has the same information on it. So there's not a huge change there, but just a subtle change to the aesthetic of it. Our light switch is here on the left for low and high beams. You guys can see we've got a tweeter right here. If you guys are wondering about the tweeters, what they go to this bad JBL sound system that we've got in this bad boy. It comes with a 12-inch subwoofer. We've got some storage compartments right here beside the subwoofer. And then we also have our glove box right here with your update cable for your ride command. So that's a pretty good spot for it, kind of high and dry. We jump over to ride command. Speaking on that, we have a 7-inch display here that shows maps and gauges. So the big thing with showing the maps and the gauges is that if you're riding with other people, you can actually see them on the map, or if you went to a park, you can mark trails that you've already been down. So that's really cool and convenient for a lot of you guys that go to a lot of different parks and trail ride. So let's kind of just jump back down to the dash here. So we've got our turf mode, 2-wheel drive, and 4-wheel drive switches. And we've got comfort, standard, and sport. For you guys that don't know, these machines have electronic throttle control. And what this switch does, depending on what setting it is in, will adjust the sensitivity of the input from acceleration. So if you have it on sport, of course, it's going to be your highest sensitivity. Standard will be in the middle, and comfort will be less input. So the throttle, you have to give more throttle to actually get moving. So it's real good for pulling trailers, or if you have a heavy load or if a real technical off-road course. It's cool to not be able to have all your throttle there at once. Then we have our winch switch. Like I said, guys, for that 4,500 pound winch we've got on the front. We've got a little storage compartment here, and we've also got one up under that actually goes back pretty far. We have all of our accessory rocker switch locations. So any kind of accessories, whether that be light bar, whips, anything you guys can think of, you can add that in right here. We also have a spare one over here on the other side of the steering wheel. We can hop over and talk about our shifter. You guys know I love shifters when talking about walkarounds of vehicles. This machine, of course, still has the new design, very crisp. Even if you guys weren't sure what gear you're in and had to look at the display, this shifter is not going to go forward or back in terms of you're not sure what gear you're in. You won't be wandering through the gears. We can put that bad boy in park. We've got this awesome little grab handle here for your passenger. We've got 2 cup holders to hold your beverages. We also have 4 more auxiliary switches here for your rocker switches. So this machine is definitely outfitted to have plenty of accessories installed. So if we go ahead and raise the center console up, you guys can see we've got 2 USB ports and a 12-volt plug for phone chargers, anything like that. The console has decent enough storage. It's not as deep as other models, but don't worry, guys, this machine is not lacking on storage. We go ahead and close this glove box. So something I want to talk about real quick on the glove box, if you guys take out your key there, you can see these keys right here are actually for the glove box. So we can lock that bad boy up, and you cannot get into the glove box. which is a pretty cool feature that I've seen, or that I've noticed Polaris adding on these Expeditions. It's really neat to be able to put your valuables away and lock them in the machine if you're not going to be around. So let's go ahead and put our key back in. So other than that, guys, we can talk about the seats. The seats are very comfortable to sit in. I have more than enough leg room, and these are adjustable, or at least the driver's seat is adjustable to slide forward and back to adjust for the comfort. So your steering wheel is a tilt and telescope wheel. So that is something that is different on the Ultimate models. On the premium models, they just are tilt, but the Ultimate does come with the tilt and telescope. But other than that, guys, since we have the 4-seat model, let's see what it's like to sit back there as a passenger. So we've made it back here to the back, and guys, we can see that our seats are folded up, which is pretty cool. These are a 60-40 split. We have a ton of room right here in the floorboard. So if you didn't have passengers, it'd be enough room to put any kind of cargo or any kind of extra stuff you had in mind. But if you guys are worried about these cup holders being in the way, if you're putting anything in here, it's really cool. They just pick up and slide out, and they do lock in place. I just had that one out because they are a little bit of a pain when the machine's new to kind of get out. But other than that, guys, let's go ahead and fold these seats down and see what it looks like for somebody who's 6'2" to get in the back of the Expedition. So guys, if I sit straight up, I have more than enough leg room right here against the back of the seat. So even if I got comfortable and kind of slouched down, I'm still not touching the back of the seat. There's nothing really sharp over here. The biggest thing that you might have an issue with your leg rubbing on or hitting is the seatbelt bracket right here. But as far as the door goes, you have a good grab handle on your door right here for your back, or for your rear passengers. If we go ahead and fold this seat down, you guys can see they do have some nice bolstering, not only across the bottoms of the seats, but also the top. So you guys can see right here, even in the middle, there's still enough bolstering, being that it is a full rear seat, to still hold both passengers in if you don't have somebody in the middle. But then also if you have somebody in the middle, everybody's still pretty comfortable sitting in the back of the machine. This machine, being the Ultimate, does have the headliner, which is pretty cool. So it's a little bit more premium feeling machine, as well as the JBL audio speaker pods in the rear. So other than that, guys, just make sure that your passengers can listen to the same tunes you are while you're jamming down the trails or out in the back country. It's very important to note that this machine is built for comfort, being that this machine is meant to be in for longer periods of time. Something I really think is cool and want to point out, this machine has a 12-gallon fuel capacity. So that means that this machine is able to go 200 plus miles on one fill-up, which is awesome compared to other machines. But other than that, guys, let's go ahead and hop in the bed and see what we're working with back there. All right, so we've made it to our destination, and I'm here in the bed. Sitting on the tailgate, there are 2 cup holders right here. So if you guys wanted to get to where you're going, enjoy a cold beverage, nobody's going to stop you. So this bed is one of the larger beds. It is larger than a general bed. So you have quite a bit of room for storage. I believe there's definitely enough room to fit a cooler and whatever else you may be taking with you. Something I want to point out, if you guys can tell, you can see it really prominent from the rear of the machine, is that the roof is completely flat. So not only do you have room in your bed for storage, but you guys, if you got like a Rhino rack or something like that from Polaris when you buy the machine, roof rack, I think they make overland tents, kayak holders, roof racks. I think all kind of accessories that are roof mounted, especially having a 4-seat machine with that longer roof, then you have a lot more room for storage. But let's just go ahead and hop down here real quick. So we've got some tie downs here in the bed. These swivel, which is pretty cool. So they swivel up and back, which gives you a little bit more flexibility when it comes to strapping loads down. The back glass or the rear panel, whatever you decide to go with, whether that be poly or glass, does mount right here. It's actually a 2-piece. So you have one solid piece that runs across and then an angled piece that runs about right here. So it kind of angles out a little bit so your passengers' heads aren't right against the rear panel, which I do like. You guys may have noticed these silver rails in the bed. This is Polaris's new Lock and Ride Max. So there are shackles that actually sit down and slide in these rails that help with other accessories built in for the Lock and Ride Max, whether that be a spare tire carrier or a tool carrier or anything like that, bed extenders. They have a ton of accessories for this machine, which I think is really cool. A ton of factory accessories already that you don't have to wait on an aftermarket company to come up with after you buy the machine. But guys, let's go ahead and dive into the drivetrain on this machine. So we've made it back to the engine. One thing I want to talk about before we really dive into the engine is that this is a completely new Gen 2. So this is the same engine that they are putting in the 2024 Racers, which is really neat. This engine makes 114 horsepower, which is more than enough power to pull this machine around. We have a generous amount of exhaust shielding. I don't know if you guys can see that or not, but there is actually like a carpet shield material up under the heat shield. So that's pretty cool, so you won't get a lot of rattle from that over time, and as well as keeping a lot of the heat out of the bed. Being that this machine is kind of purposely built to be enclosed at some point, if you guys put a cab enclosure, it'll keep a lot of the engine heat out of the cab, which would be pretty cool. We've still got our Fox Pro Series 2.0 right here in the rear, still getting 20 inches of usable travel back here, or all total over the machine. We have an isolated rear diff, or transaxle as you guys might like to call it. So that's a little bit, it's cool design in the fact that everything is uniform and everything is together. A little bit more reliable design in most cases. But other than that, guys, we've got our coolant reservoir over here. As you guys can see that right there in the front of the corner. And your air box is actually down here down low. That's the only thing I've noticed that might be a small complaint. But it's really cool to notice that your intake ducts for both your CVT and your engine are up high, so they're high mounted, as well as all the electrical of the machine. Fuse relays and stuff like that, they're all high mounted, so it kind of keeps everything out of the elements, which is a cool thing to see Polaris kind of think of and innovate and make sure that no matter what terrain you're going through, you're covered. So other than that, guys, we got just a couple more little small details we want to point out to you guys, so you'll know all about this machine there is to know. So let's hop into that. So just kind of going over some little features that I've noticed that I think Polaris has done a really good job at is the exterior door handles. So both doors have exterior door handles, whereas some machines, the back door may not have an exterior door handle. Like I said, guys, this machine is kind of purpose-built to be enclosed at some point. So if you guys are going to put an upper door enclosure on this, it's really nice to already have your exterior handles. And one thing to talk about is the fit and finish of this machine. The doors, they close and open perfectly. So it's something that I really think Polaris has been struggling with for a long time, especially with the North Stars, is getting the door that closes good. Both these doors have a very crisp latch on them and open up. And if you guys open this door, if I open this door, you guys can see that there is actually a step here. So you guys may be wondering why you need a step here. But as I mentioned earlier, Polaris is coming out with a ton of accessories to go up here on the roof, being that it is a completely flat roof. So this step, I'll show you guys real quick how easy it is, especially in a machine like this that doesn't have windows. You have more to kind of grab onto. You can grab on, pull yourself up, access anything you need to on your roof. You guys can hop down and you got whatever you need. But just follow me to the front real quick. We'll talk about one quick feature that I always think is really cool that Polaris adds. So not only does this machine have the front and rear facing cameras that you can access through your ride command, but it also has a battery tender port right here. So if you raise that rubber cover, there is a battery tender port. So if you guys are going to be using this machine or letting the machine sit for a longer period of time, it's really smart to plug your machine up, being that these machines come with what they consider a maintenance battery, to where you kind of have to have a trickle charge on it for the battery to maintain and get the most out of the battery life. So if you guys plan on leaving the machine sitting for a long time, that's the best way to do it. But other than that, guys, if you enjoyed the walk around, make sure to leave a like and subscribe. Hope to see you all in the next video, and we'll catch you on the next one.